It's 10 a.m. in Ukraine. The joint marathon continues on the 1+1 channel. I'm Solomia Vitvitska, and this is TSN. The mandatory evacuation zone has been expanded in the Kharkiv region due to the worsening situation in the Kupiansk direction. According to the regional military administration, more than 600 children from 400 families are planned to be evacuated from dangerous areas. The evacuation will take place from 40 villages in the Kupiansk district. These are the Velikobolutska, Vilkovatska and Shevchenkivska communities. Evacuation routes have already been prepared for the people, no more, and places for temporary accommodation have been arranged. They also promise state support, assistance in obtaining IDP status, and payments for humanitarian aid. The authorities strongly urge families not to delay and to leave dangerous areas. 75 people remain, where previously there were more than 1,000. The villages of the Andriivka Starosta district in Dnipropetrovsk region are emptying before our eyes. The front line is rapidly approaching them, and as soon as the shelling started, people began to leave. There were powerful strikes. A few days ago, they destroyed the center and dashed all hopes of having their own school in Andriivka. TSN correspondent Anastasia Nevirna witnessed how the advance of the Russian world is destroying picturesque Ukrainian villages.
Miss Olha, the head of Andriivka, opens the door to the shattered village council building. The lock here is just for show, since there are hardly any intact windows left. Instead of quickly going up to her office, she constantly has to navigate around the ruins.
Our icons are here. We spared the enemy. See? They never spare anyone. Not children, not the elderly, not the little ones.
The head of the village never makes it to her office. An explosion rings out.
Let's go, let's go. Let's go back. Do you hear that? Again. Let's hurry.
In this basement, the head says, she and her colleagues have spent more than a few hours.
This is precisely where our entire staff used to hide, back in the days when there were still many people here with us.
When the explosions subside, Ms. Olha finally manages to get to her workplace. She tries to quickly take care of the paperwork. She left for a safer place with her family, but comes back several times a week to support those who are still in the village.
These are the lists of people. Every day someone leaves, and every time it hurts a lot.
She says that the latest shelling forced even those who tried to hold on to leave their homes.
As of today, there are only 75 people left in 9 settlements. That's the situation we have now. It's truly catastrophic.
The tragedy that happened in the neighboring village became the last straw for many.
A Shahed drone hit the home of a young family, a large family. There was a mother, a father, and 3 daughters. Both the mother and father died instantly. The 3 children were saved. The middle daughter pulled them out of the fire, and all 3 children survived. But unfortunately, they are now orphans.
There haven't been any children left in these settlements for a long time. The last ones were evacuated at the beginning of September, and just recently the enemy destroyed even the hope of their return. A bomb demolished the school.
This is the building of the primary school. So many children used to be here, and look at what our enemies have done to this building. It's just painful to see.
The interview doesn't last long. Several explosions go off very close by.
Not a single child.
And immediately a column of black smoke rises nearby. This alley on one of the main streets is a reminder of the once cozy villages. Here, flowers are still blooming, but in Babishne there is nothing left but ruins. The streets of Andriivka are completely deserted. It's very hard to meet anyone here.
He must have left. I can't lock the door. He was supposed to leave today to get out already.
Mrs. Katerina is the only one left on the whole street. She is 87 years old. Somehow she still manages around the household, keeps chickens, and says she has no intention of leaving.
Now that I've reached this age, I can't handle anyone anymore. As long as I can move, I say I'm not going anywhere, and no one offers me anything anymore.
Miss Olha still tries to persuade the elderly woman to leave.
Maybe let's do it through that. You travel to London. I haven't left the house. For me, if they brought me a loaf of bread, some water, that's all I need. But what if there's no bread? Well, then you'll have to dry some bread for rusks.
On the evening of the same day, when our film crew was in Andriivka, the Russians destroyed the bridge, the one that leads to it. This means even bread will now be harder to deliver here.
The vibrant city, our beloved city, is truly a wonderful place.
Anastasia Nevirna, Vladislav Commission, Dnipropetrovsk region, TSN1+, Marathon United News.
The Russians have occupied 3 settlements in Donetsk region at once and have advanced near 2 more nearby. This concerns the villages of Miran, Komar, Perebudova, as well as Ivanivka and Voskresenka in the Donetsk region. This was reported by analysts from the Deep State portal. They say that the situation at the positions had been difficult for a long time, and in recent weeks it has become even more complicated because the Russians began clearing this salient part of the positions. The enemy simply destroyed them with artillery. In total, there were 182 combat engagements along the entire front line on Tuesday. These are the latest figures from the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. More than a third of the battles took place in the Pokrovsk direction. According to preliminary estimates by the General Staff, the occupiers lost 153 personnel killed and wounded here the day before. Ukrainian Defense Forces destroyed 6 vehicles and 5 enemy drones and also struck 2 drone control points and 4 artillery pieces. North of Kupiansk, enemy infantry tries to cross the Oskil River every day. And every time they are stopped by the artillerymen, the Karadag unit of the 15th Operational Brigade of the National Guard of Ukraine. Their 105mm howitzers, though quite old weapons, perform their tasks very effectively. The film crew of TSN correspondent Alexander Motonai saw this with their own eyes. And during the report, there will be a QR code on your screens. This is a drone fundraiser for the 15th Brigade of the National Guard. So if you can, please don't stay on the sidelines.
I want to congratulate all of you on this holiday. These are your passes. Thank you for standing up to defend your native country in such a difficult time.
Amid the echoes of enemy shell explosions, the commander of the artillery battalion of the 15th Brigade of the National Guard of Ukraine. This time, right at the combat position, he was presenting awards to his men.
Recognized with the esteemed President of Ukraine's prestigious award for the defense of Ukraine, 20.
30. The 23-year-old warrior Karadag was serving as a conscript soldier when the full-scale war began. Now, in the Kupiansk area of Kharkiv region, he serves as a gunner on a 105mm howitzer. He says this award belongs to the entire crew, and he knows exactly what it's for.
I signed a contract, it's the 23rd month, and all this time.
So, how long have you been fighting?
Well, since the beginning of the war, the full-scale one. For the defense of our native country. For the fact that we are defending against the enemy, and also delivering a very powerful fire strike.
The need to deliver that same fire strike to the enemy prevented us from questioning the scout in more detail.
The identification code is Retzel, specifically 476. This designation is important for accurate record keeping. Charged up and fully ready. The gun is now prepared. The island is directly ahead in sight.
Since the beginning of autumn, the warriors of Karadag say the Russians have seriously intensified their assault efforts around Kupiansk, especially on the western bank of the Oskil.
Right now, for the most part, we are successfully holding back the relentless enemy's advance, preventing them from gaining significant ground. This ongoing situation is predominantly an aggressive offensive where they meticulously cross the treacherous river on foot, often under difficult conditions, and then attempt to forcefully storm our well-established and strategically important defensive positions with considerable determination.
The National Guardsmen assure that the Russians do not have heavy armored vehicles on the western bank of the river. Since summer, they also haven't seen any enemy motorcyclists or buggies in this area. The Russians are trying to cross using rubber boats. Only infantry.
These makeshift pontoons are not sophisticated structures. They are simply a very long stretched rope, securely fastened, with a small sturdy boat carefully tied to it. The individuals then utilize this attached boat, maneuvering it with considerable effort and skill in an attempt to successfully cross the expanse of water and reach the opposite bank safely and efficiently. With the help of the cannon, we hold back their advance. Every morning we destroy their crossing, and the next day there's a new one, a little further down, and so it goes on endlessly. Every day there are attempts to force the Oskil River.
Not allowing the enemy to cross the river is now their daily job, says the gunner. But most often they target the enemy's assault groups.
Small sabotage and reconnaissance groups, usually 2 to 3 people, gather and move out in the first wave. And we, as they say, catch them like bait. We're given the coordinates of their concentrations in the forest belts, and we fire at those spots. Fire on command.
Loaded. Their howitzer, half a century old and of Soviet origin, may not be the largest artillery caliber, but it shoots quite accurately, assures the commander of the 15th Brigade of the National Guard of Ukraine.
If the first ranging shot lands well, then with 2 or 3 more, we'll hit the target.
At the same time, each of their shots is also a reference point for enemy drones and artillery, which usually operate from the eastern bank of the river.
They fly, yes, and both fiber optics and FPV drones are used.
They try to camouflage themselves carefully and, unless absolutely necessary, don't even come out from underground to the surface. But when fire is needed, their 105's The Beekeeper's crew instantly gets to work. Load. Loaded. Gun.
Hit! Well done. The task was to fire at the infantry. The first shell landed nearby, and with the second shell, we hit the target. They said, "Good job, guys. You hit where you needed to." Gun! Cease fire!
This is happening statically. They keep trying and trying. Every day, 10, 15, or even 20 enemy servicemen, we eliminate them. And so it goes every day.
From the Kupiansk sector of the front in Kharkiv region, Alexander Motorny, Oleksiy Osavchuk, and Serhiy Shportilo. TSN 1+, United News Marathon.
The oil depot in Feodosia. That's it. The defense forces of Ukraine struck the marine oil terminal enterprise again and destroyed the remaining tanks. After the previous strike, 16 fuel tanks remained, according to the General Staff. And for several days now, a large-scale fire has been raging at the site. The oil terminal in Feodosia is a key link in the occupier's logistics chain. The total volume of fuel that could be stored in the tanks is about 193,000 cubic meters, according to the report. In addition, the defense forces also struck a Papa-18 radar station in occupied Crimea in Chervona Poliana. A UAV control center in occupied Oleshki and an ammunition depot near Makivka were also targeted. Revocation of the citizenship of Odessa Mayor Trukhanov. There is no official decree on the website of the president's office. However, Zelensky himself, after a meeting with the head of the security service, wrote on social media, and I quote, "The presence of Russian citizenship in certain individuals has been confirmed. Appropriate decisions regarding them have been prepared. The decree has been signed." At the same time, the security service released details about the revocation of Trukhanov's Ukrainian citizenship. According to the investigation, Trukhanov received a foreign passport from the occupying country in December 2015. It was issued for a period of 10 years and is currently a valid document. However, his internal Russian passport was confiscated by a court in the Moscow region in 2017. Although in additional clarifications it is stated, the cancellation or renunciation of such a document, I quote, does not deprive one of citizenship of the Russian Federation. The SBU published photos of these documents on its Telegram channel. The day before, a petition demanding the termination of Ukrainian citizenship appeared on the website of the President of Ukraine, of Hennedy Trukhanov. In addition to the Russian passport, the official is also accused there of defending monuments with Russian symbols. The petition refers to the tragedy in Odessa on September 30th, when people died due to bad weather and inadequate warnings about the danger. In less than a day, this petition gathered the required 25,000 signatures. Along with Trukhanov, citizenship was also revoked from 3-term MP Oleh Tsaryov and ballet dancer Sergei Polunin. Hennady Trukhanov denied having a Russian passport and stated that he is preparing lawsuits for the courts of Ukraine and the European Court of Human Rights. And in his evening address, Zelensky promised that he would appoint new leaders in the near future. The head of the Odessa City Military Administration.
Are you planning to leave Odessa or Ukraine?
I am not planning to leave either Odessa or Ukraine. And
To run in the next elections?
if you are nominated now, will you run? Why did they do this? Because if I don't have citizenship, I can't run for office. Because they're afraid that I would run and win the election.
There have been too many security issues in Odessa that have gone unanswered for too long. All effective decisions will be made. I will appoint a leader of the military administration in the near future.
A triumph for Ukrainian chess players at the European Championship in Georgia. The Ukrainian men's chess team became champions, while the women's team took second place. In the final 9th round, the Ukrainian men's team defeated England and confidently secured the gold medals. The Ukrainian women's team drew with Armenia, which earned them the silver medals. In addition, Ukraine has won 5 individual awards at once. Anna Ushanina was the best among women on the second chessboard. Among the men, gold was won by Igor Kovalenko and Ihor Samunenkov. Natalia Zhukova and Bozhena Pidubna were awarded silver. I should note that both Ihor Samunenkov and Bozhena Pidubna are only 16 years old, so congratulations to our chess players from the entire TSN team. NATO plans to ease the rules on how to shoot down Russian fighter jets. And according to The Telegraph, the new rules will be discussed during a meeting in Brussels this week. Alliance partners want to develop a unified approach to the appearance of Russian aircraft in their airspace. They want to determine the level of threat from foreign fighter jets based on the type of weapons on board and their flight trajectory. In recent months, NATO countries have twice held emergency consultations under Article 4 after incidents in Estonia and Poland, when Russian fighter jets violated the airspace of allies. Opinions within the alliance on how to respond have been divided. Some countries are calling for Russian aircraft to be shut down, while others fear that this could provoke escalation from Moscow.